Isaiah 45:7 in the King James Bible, it says that God creates evil. Now, if evil is a thing that exists, since God creates all things, then God would have to be the creator of evil. Okay, and that's what it says right here in Isaiah 45:7. And God does not create sin, however. Galatians 2:17 says that. So we know that sin and evil are distinct. There's a systematic theology within Scripture surrounding this topic that's quite intricate, which is virtually unknown and undiscussed anywhere. I've never seen this show up in a systematic theology book or anything, but it's right in Scripture. So now the thing is, though, today I was debating with someone on YouTube, and this came up, and I think they were not understanding why I'm saying God creates evil. And it kind of turned into, oh, if the King James says that, but my NASB, my NLT, my NRSV, my New King James, all those new Bibles don't say that. And yeah, the New King James that's like an NIV or an ESV, it's a new Bible. It's not King James. Whoever invented the New King James, they're tricking people, because there's this idea that the New King James is the King James without the these and the thous, and that is false. As you can see right here, Isaiah 45:7, the New King James doesn't say God creates evil. It says he creates calamity. That's what the new Bibles say. He creates disaster and so forth, not evil. So if you think about this, what you're seeing in your screen here, there is a different message in the King James, the New King James, in Isaiah 45:7, a radically different message. For a couple of reasons, but the one is because the King James says God creates evil, and if you read the New King James, you won't know that. So a whole massive element of Christian systematic theology will not be available to you if you're a New King James reader, and a real intricate piece of the true systematic theology that God creates evil, since it exists, is presented to you in the King James. So you have different books here. The New Bibles versus the King James are different books, and they really have opposite messages. The King James Bible being hyper-Calvinist, and the New Bibles, including the New King James, being Arminian. There's quite a bit that could be said about that. A lot of my videos have that revelation, that discovery in them. So what happens then is people who follow the King James versus people who follow the New Bibles, there's a debate that starts. Does God create evil or not? Because the New Bible people are going to say, oh, it doesn't say it in my Bible, and that doesn't make any sense to me. God can't create evil. How can that be? That's what the person I was debating with said today. How can evil come from God? To be honest, it's kind of a fair question. It is mysterious. But then again, it is what the King James says. So what's needed here is an argument, a logical argument that is irrefutable from Scripture. So in other words, it's a systematic theology, which shows that God must create evil, okay? But not sin. We're talking about evil, not sin. They're different. Evil is, like a force all over the place, part of nature. But sin is violating the command of the Lord, 1 John 3:4. Or lack of faith, Romans 14:3. Those are the two definitions of sin I know of in Scripture. So evil is simply not those. So it's very obvious the two are different. So anyway, so if we had a knockdown argument for that God creates evil, just a logical argument, a systematic theological argument, that'd be very powerful. And that's what I had when I was debating with this fellow on YouTube today. So let's just get right to the argument. You'll see what I mean. So what I'm going to do is, I actually was just discussing this with my son. He's 13. We were talking while he was playing with his Legos, and I laid the argument on, and I recorded myself. So that's what I'm going to play for you right now. Here you go. All right. So no one is good but God alone, Mark 10:18. If we're not good, we're evil, but God creates us, so therefore God creates evil. So you get Isaiah 45:7 in the King James Bible just by pure logic. So there you go. That's, I find, beautiful, amazing. It's the logic of God, the systematic theology of Scripture is so amazing, so beautiful. And so God creates evil, of course, since he creates all things. So I don't know how anybody could get around that argument. That's pretty simple. It's not like those premises in that argument are controversial or risky or something. Those are just basically quoting verses. God creates us. No one's good but God alone. Therefore, God creates evil.